Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Installment of Scott Selections here for Tuesday, April 11th. For again today's play of the day, quick recap of what happened yesterday. We had a loss in baseball with the Red Sox first five team total over 1.5 runs at minus 145 on DraftKings. Unfortunately, we were in the middle of a 10 pick winning streak, and that ended because Boston scored no runs, not just in the first five, but in the entire game as they lost 1-0. Fleming did not start, but he ended up pitching 3 innings anyway. So I can't even blame that as a reason why we lost. The Red Sox offensively just no-showed the game, and as a result, we picked up a loss. So look for a winner here on Tuesday. And for today's play today, going to pivot to hockey, and we're going to look at a game between the Penguins and the Blackhawks taking place at around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for this game, we're going to take a player prop in this one. We're going to take the captain of the Penguins. We're going to take Sidney Crosby over half an assist at minus 135 on DraftKings. Time recording of 2:30 a.m. Eastern Time. So a couple reasons why we're going to take Crosby over half an assist in this game. First reason, trying to find actual value on this game was pretty difficult because the Penguins are roughly minus 460 on the money line, and they're roughly minus 180, minus 1.5 goals. Penguins win regulations around minus 200. You can get 2.5 goals on a puck line at around even money, but I feel like that's stretching it out a little bit. The point is they're expected to dominate this game, and Pittsburgh's team total in this game is roughly 4 or 4.5. So in other words, Pittsburgh's expected to score a bunch of goals against Chicago, and I really can't disagree. The Blackhawks have been one of the worst teams in the entire league all season long. On top of that, that's a bad scheduling spot because in addition to being incentivized to lose to increase their Bedard sweepstakes probability, they also just played yesterday against Minnesota, and they lost that game by 2. But the point is Chicago now has to travel while also playing a back-to-back against a rested team and a motivated team at that, because Pittsburgh is still competing for one of the final 2 wildcard spots in the Eastern Conference, and they received a gift yesterday. In fact, they received a couple of gifts because Florida ended up losing in overtime, and the Islanders lost in regulation to Washington, which means that if Pittsburgh wins out against Chicago and in their final game against another bottom feeder, they will officially clinch a playoff spot. So as a result, Pittsburgh should be motivated to really take out the trash here and win this game comfortably. But when you're looking at the actual odds once again for the game and for the team total, there's not much value there. But I do think conceptually, if Pittsburgh does score, let's just say 5 goals, I think Crosby has at least 1 assist and he probably has a couple of points. But I think you also give yourself a bit of insurance because if Pittsburgh only scores 3 goals or 4 goals, you go under the team total and you potentially don't cover the puck line, and yet Crosby could still have a big assist that ends up cashing this bet for you. But 135, I think, is a little bit low for a guy who should be heavily involved in a lot of Pittsburgh's offensive scoring chances. But to go through the actual recent numbers for Crosby, he has been pretty good at getting assists over the past couple of weeks, as Crosby has recorded at least 1 assist in 3 of his last 5 games. On top of that, this will be the second meeting between these teams this season. In the first meeting, Pittsburgh did score 5 goals, but most importantly, Crosby had 3 assists. So Crosby dominated this defense in the first meeting. I think you'll see something similar here. And with the probability, once again, of Pittsburgh scoring 4, 5, maybe even 6 goals, I think Crosby gets at least 1 assist in this game. And I think you're also picking up some extra odds or extra draws while not really sacrificing many additional odds. But either way, to look at the actual playing time, Crosby is the captain, and he's going to play the most amount of minutes of any forward because he's currently averaging the most playing time per game of any forward on the roster. And to go through another factor here, anytime you have to talk about a team scoring a bunch of goals, you got to mention the power play versus the penalty kill. And the Penguins are very opportunistic because they get a lot of power plays. The Penguins have the second most power play opportunities in the league, and the Blackhawks rank 11th worst in penalty kill. So Chicago's had issues actually killing off penalties all season long. Now they're going to also be exhausted because they played yesterday. And I think as a result, you might see Crosby get a couple of power play points. But I think at the end of the day, with a Pittsburgh team that's expected to dominate this game, probably score 5+ goals, maybe 4. But the point is, I think there's going to be enough scoring chances, enough goals for Pittsburgh that Crosby gets at least 1 assist. And as a result, I think that minus 135 is a good value play on expecting Pittsburgh to do well offensively while also not having to take much of the risk regarding Pittsburgh's questionable goaltending. So play that once again here for Tuesday, April 11th is going to be on Sidney Crosby over half an assist at minus 135 on DraftKings. Bye, everyone.